Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NXT Then, Now, Forever. I'm James Boyd, and I'm here with Social Suplex contributor Tom Gambardella. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Usually I'm not a big retro NXT watcher. Like, it hasn't really been in my rotation, so this got a chance to do a little bit of a deep dive this week. It was watched a little bit like a fever dream, just seeing all the faces that I've seen on Raw and SmackDown for a couple years. But yeah, it was a good time. So
yeah, this was the first episode I can think of where every single person that was on this show I've seen since I've started doing this show since NXT Arrival. Uh-huh. So there's really not any time where we can kind of like dig into where this person is now or where they aren't or whatever else. But yeah, it was it was an NXT show. I said we actually got a really good main event. Yeah,
it was actually a very solid match. Yeah. I think the one name that popped me a little bit, or thing that popped me a little bit, was Yoshitatsu just being from Japan. Like, I don't know why that just is like, it's out of nowhere, just the general country. We don't need to get any more specific than that, but that's just where he's coming out of.
Yes, and then they were asking Jason Albert, he's like, "You're from Japan. What do you think about Yoshitatsu?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, I remember he was in the dojo." Which dojo?
Yeah, this is the one they have over there. They have like the giant Japanese flag on his tights too, just in case you didn't get it.
Yeah, they definitely did that. That's the thing. It's in pro sports, fake pro sports, is they love to just throw flags on people, and that's it. It's like, okay, you're from New York, right, Tom?
Yeah.
I'm from Florida.
Yeah.
There's hella difference between Florida and New York. Like, even inside of New York, even inside of Florida. Like, there are dudes that live 20 minutes from me. I'm not claiming none of them. It's fine. It's cool or whatever else. But, like, nah. But, you know, just put the flag on it. It's all good, I guess. Yeah.
Even Neville had one in this episode, too, in the main event. He's got the British flag on.
Right. And it's like, I mean, think of all the different, by being a wrestling fan or whatever else, how many different accents you hear, like, out of the UK. It's like, come on now.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah. Anyway, we're just going to start off with 5 weeks ago's NXT.
Whoa. Oh, man. Face first off the top turnbuckle. Oh! What a shot! Wow. That one will rattle your jaw.
I don't think anyone's home right now in Bo Dallas's camp. Oh, what's he doing now?
This could be bad. This could be the end.
What's he doing?
Of Bo Dallas in this match. Neville.
The man gravity
going up top. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Where did he pull that one out? He did it.
NXT number 214 from March 27th, 2014. We get a video recap of the main event ladder match from Arrival between Neville and Bo to promote the main event for this show. Then we get Mojo Rawley versus CJ Parker. Parker starts the match by landing some chops and then a Booker T-like crescent kick. Runs Mojo headfirst from corner to corner. Parker runs to the opposite corner, but Mojo catches him with a stinger splash, then another stinger splash, and then a hip attack, then a running, jumping ass drop for the win. Yeah, I'm getting real sick of these Mojo squash matches. They're all the same. It's stinger splash, hip attack, ass drop.
It was weird for me watching this back and just being like, oh no, that's just the Mojo Rawley. Like, this isn't some sort of like big different, like, oh yeah, this is like a pre-evolved version of his character. Like, no, this is just, there's a Mojo Rawley and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, and now it's still the same thing, except now, like, he's locked in a room, a cold, dark room, and he's talking to himself in the mirror, and, like, I don't think when he comes out, he's going to be unleashed and repackaged. He's just going to bring his goofy ass out there and be hyped and run around and be
I feel like
thoroughly mediocre.
Oh yeah, we're never like more than 2 weeks from getting same old hype bros Mojo Rawley just rolled out again. Like I just think that's in Vince's back pocket, ready to go.
Yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong. What was the resolution? Like, how did that end? Like, I remember he turned on Ryder and then he whooped that ass, and was that just it?
Yeah, I don't think we got a resolution to that. I feel like it was just he turned on Zack Ryder. He started talking to himself, and I think he's still just in the rooms talking to himself. I mean, until I am told otherwise on WWE television, that is what I'm going to assume because that's just more fun. The one thing I will say from this match that kind of jumped out at me is I feel like puka shells and peace sign tights CJ Parker could get like weirdly over in today's NXT. Like we just saw Eric Bugenhagen get weird internet following 2 weeks ago from just hitting high notes. If he comes out, if CJ Parker comes out and does the wacky inflatable like car dealership dance on the entrance ramp, somebody's going to go along with that in Full Sail.
Yeah, but it would get over. If you make him, I wonder though, because it's Vince McMahon's WWE. I don't know if you can ever make that guy a babyface that he should be. So I don't know if it gets over that well as much as it is like, oh, it's a white guy with dreads. No, thank you. Yuck. Yeah. So it could work, but I don't know if they ever in the previous iteration used CJ Parker as a babyface. But I only know him as this environmental asshole. So who knows? So then we get a health update for Sami Zayn after getting jumped by Corey Graves on last week's episode. It appears to be a mild concussion, but further tests will be conducted. It's funny to see that it's Dr. Amen, and you're just like, you're checking on people's concussions, huh?
I bet you are, yeah.
Is this a rib? Because this is only like 3 months after, or 2-3 months after the CM Punk thing. It's just like,
oh yeah.
It's like, jeez. Yeah. So then we get an Undertaker Lesnar WrestleMania 30 commercial. We then get a Scooby-Doo WrestleMania mystery commercial. Out comes Xavier Woods, and he walks down to the ring without dancing. Apparently, he's tired of getting his ass whooped on.
Serious Xavier Woods.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the old Lance Storm thing? If you allow me to be serious for a moment, is that what it was?
I think that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah. It's like serious Xavier Woods.
He's got the Mojo Rawley repackage going.
Ugh. That's so insulting to Xavier Woods. So then we get Xavier Woods versus Tyler Breeze. These two idiots lock up. Then Xavier, who's been getting his ass whooped by Rusev and Breeze for weeks, does a clean rope break after backing Breeze into the ropes. Breeze then immediately kicks his dummy in the gut. Xavier comes off the ropes with a spinning head scissors, and Breeze takes an ugly bump for it like he was getting spiked DDT'd. The commentary teams refers to Xavier Woods' ex over and over. Wood lands a Shining Wizard and sets up for his finish, but Breeze realizes and ducks towards the corner. Woods then tries to get Breeze out of the ropes and finally does, but Breeze lands on his feet and catches Woods with a spinning heel kick for the win. Dummy. Like, just dumb baby facery.
In WWE, it can't be.
Yeah, right.
I will say, my notes for this match go, number 1, pre-selfie stick Tyler Breeze. Number 2, Riley bringing up Eddie Murphy for some reason. I didn't quite get that one.
He said if you look at the word charisma in the dictionary, a picture of Eddie Murphy would be right next to it. And then the next picture would be Xavier Woods, who is not being charismatic, not flashy, not dancing, not showing much fire throughout this whole match. It was kind of like, you should have saved that one, my guy.
The whole story is that he's not doing that. But yeah, sure, we're getting the Eddie Murphy comparisons.
Yeah, because they're black. Because they're black, Tom. Because they're black.
Fair. Writes itself.
Yeah, but
what was Breeze did some sort of like bulldog into the turnbuckle kind of spot.
Yes.
I saw that.
Yes,
wrote that one down.
It's similar to like how Miz does that clothesline in the corner and hangs on the ropes, except he did it with a guy in bulldog position, and he ended up, like, in theory, knocking the top of Xavier's head against the top turnbuckle. That was cool.
Yeah, no, I feel like I saw it a couple times on this show, because I think, and we'll get to it a little bit in this week's NXT, but I feel like a lot of the, like, performance center only guys that are coming through now, it's like their moveset will be, oh, how do we make this, like, still not easy, but, like, more basic looking spot, like, look a little bit better, or, like, spice it up a little bit, make it something you might not have seen. And I feel like that was, like, every match on this show, somebody was doing something like that, where it's like, all right, yeah, we're just going to tweak that a little bit. But that was the one that stood out to me the most. So I guess good on Breeze for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and also, especially around that era where we still have, like the Divas era, per se.
Yeah.
Like, you hear any of them talking about their time in developmental or on the road, and they're constantly told that they have to have these, they have to have their own signature flair to their own moves, because one, they don't really let them wrestle or have physicality, especially back then.
Yeah.
So you have to have a flair to any old move to kind of set yourself apart. And I'm assuming they kind of told that to the NXTers back then too as well. But I mean, any old thing helps, so you break up the monotony.
Oh yeah,
especially when, like, the layout of these matches are all still the same. So like, please put some, sizzle on this. On the fourth steak I've seen tonight. Yeah, so we go backstage for the Bo Dallas interview, and Bo says that Neville has a championship because he climbed a ladder and hooked it from a latch, but he didn't beat him, he didn't pin him. He says he's better at climbing, but luckily this isn't a Jungle Gym competition, and he says he'll be the NXT champion again, and you can believe that.
So I take it Bo Dallas did not watch the Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley feud at all. No Jungle Gym competitions in this NXT. Sami Zayn did do the Jungle Gym against Lashley, right? Was that?
I was gone. I was gone at the time. That's when I took the hiatus. I was like, wow. That's what you did, Roman Reigns? All right.
It was on one of the ends of the Lashley Sisters segment, which is a whole separate discussion. But it was, Sami Zayn came out and did some sort of obstacle course. And then,
right. I heard
Bobby
about
Lashley
this.
came out and but Lashley also did the obstacle course. So, guess Bo has not seen that feud.
Yeah, and apparently, like, that's the most impressive thing Bobby Lashley has done in this year since he's been back. So, there's that, too. So, we get Yoshi-Tasi versus Corey Graves. They take turns throwing punches, and then Yoshi gets separation. It comes off the second rope with a head chop, and it just made me think of Brian Perez talking about, Jinder Mahal, he's chopping, and he's chopping. But anyway, so the ref then pulls Yoshi off of Graves, because Graves is getting his ass whooped in the corner, and he comes back, and Graves buckles Yoshi's leg with a back kick to the knee. Graves starts working over that bad leg, and then Yoshi fights back with some chops until Graves gives a shoulder block, and then slaps on this modified inverted figure 4 reverse Indian deathlock looking deal for the submission. It was a cool looking submission. Someone still.
Yeah, no, it was one I had not seen before.
Yeah.
I know during commentary for this match, I forget who it was. I think it might have been Alex Riley, who was like, you may never see Raw or SmackDown if you're in NXT, which is, first of all, an ironic thing to say during a Corey Graves match, but also, given the current state of NXT compared to Raw and SmackDown, you might hope you don't see Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
That, not hoping you get injured, obviously. Hope just, with the state of the booking.
Yeah. Or, they can bring you up to NXT knowing that you're going to need neck surgery, and then it fucks off a 2-year build. So there's that too.
A terrible move on multiple fronts.
Yeah, and the whole story on that is going to be like, whenever people sit down and talk about it or get their news research, it's going to come back to Vince wanted these guys up, and he didn't care, and then there you go. Yeah,
but we can't say that. We have to. Yeah. We have to toe the line of, I wanted to get a main roster experience.
Yeah.
Guys wrestling for 15 years,
Yeah.
Still a little bit green around the edges.
Yeah. It can't be that somebody has a neck surgery immediately after, and more matches means more bumps, which means it's gonna possibly get worse. It's just gotta be Vince McMahon is a wrestling genius. As the sniffing is people, coke going up their nose. Anyway, so Graves gets on the mic and says that Sami Zayn last week. I think you got the message. Don't be a fool. Stay down. He's so dangerous and mean and brooding and
with his knuckle tattoos that he flashes to the entire crowd in a 360.
Like, I don't know Graves' background, but the tattoos and the stay down stuff and the way he wrestles, it's just like he strikes me as a poser. I don't know how it takes to you, but it's just like, okay.
No, I think that's a pretty good assessment of it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, whatever. Okay, so then we get a WCW Greatest Pay-Per-View Matches Volume 1 DVD, and then we get a Cena Wyatt WrestleMania commercial. And then we get Natalya versus Charlotte. Sasha comes down to ringside with Charlotte. Then finally at the 30-minute mark, we get a shot of the commentary table to see who the hell's been talking to us for the last half hour. And then from left to right, it's Alex Riley, Tom Phillips, Jason Albert, and Renee Young, who just now joins us because women are about to wrestle. So then we get
Tom Phillips too, looking like my 12-year-old cousin.
Oh yeah, like every single time when they show a shot of Tom Phillips, I'm thinking of a new way to make a joke. Like I think the last week or 2 weeks ago, I said he looks like he's fresh off his morbid mission. So, yeah. So then we get Bret Hart. He comes down to ringside with Natalya. So the match starts, and Natty and Charlotte take turns escaping each other's leg scissor holds. Natty out-wrestles her around the ring until Charlotte gets desperate and takes out Natty's knee with a kick. Charlotte works over the bad leg and goes for a figure four, but Natty turns into a cradle for a 2 count. Charlotte goes back to work on Natty's leg with a dragon screw leg whip, which I don't think I ever remember her doing before. She should bring it back because dragon screw leg whips are devastating and awesome. Ask Tanahashi. Yeah. So Natty picks Charlotte's leg and turns this opportunity into a sharpshooter. We then get a shot of like Brett like dryly approving of the counter. He's like this emotionally withholding dad that's like good job. Like not yay, good job, you did it, just like a nod of approval, just stoic.
He's like looking at it like a lawn he freshly mowed, just looking at a wrestling match that his niece is putting on.
Like Brett's approval is like just like the height of toxic masculinity. Just like good job. Like
I see you doing stuff.
Just like
I'm gonna nod, and that's all you're getting out of me.
Yeah, well done, pig. Like so as she slaps on the sharpshooter, Sasha immediately hits the ring for the DQ. Then Natty gets to her feet and whoops Sasha and then slaps the sharpshooter on her. And she gets out of the ring and raises hands in celebration of victory with Brett. We get a backstage interview with Neville, and he says that Bo may be diluted, but in the ring he's no slouch. At the time I was dubious. After this match, I get it. He says at the end of the day, he has the belt and the momentum behind him, and he's not going to let that change. Then we get Zayn versus Graves announced for next week's show. And then we get Adrian Neville versus Bo Dallas for NXT title. Match starts out early with Neville outclassing Bo early, and then he sets up for the Red Arrow, but Bo rolls out the ring. So Neville lands a moonsault off the top turnbuckle down to the bottom of the entrance ramp. Bo goes for a clothesline, but Neville turns into a crucifix cover for 2. Bo ends up brewing a springboard attempt by shoving Neville to hell off a cliff down to the floor.
That was a nasty bump.
Yeah. Like, there's something about me where I just love when people just get pushed off of, like, aprons or top ropes down to the floor. It just feels like, it's almost like, forget the choreographed shit. I'm going to show you something rough, and that's a big-ass bump.
Yeah. And it feels so logical, too. Just like, all right, this guy's going to the rope. Obviously, I'm pushing him down. Like, it makes a lot of sense psychologically.
It's like, fuck it, go to hell. So yeah, Bo tells the ref not to count Neville out. So then Bo takes control with a clothesline out on the floor. Then he rolls Neville in the ring and then beats him on him with some punches. We go to commercial break.
Match structure is match structure.
Jesus, it's like commercial break in the middle of your main event on your paid for network.
On your own network.
What the fuck is whatever. It's like Whatever. All right, so then we come back, and Bo goes back in control with another big clothesline. Neville goes for a slingshot sunset flip, but Bo sits down on it with a Rana cradle and then grabs the ropes. The ref sees it and stops the count. And at this point, the match got to the point where I was like, okay, I can no longer just take regular notes. I have to, like, keep up with them because they're actually wrestling as opposed to what I thought was just like, Bo can't keep up with that pace. Apparently he can. So, or could. So, then from that point in time, Neville fires up with some forearm shots and kicks, and then an awesome looking Superman punch off the top rope. Roman needs to steal this Superman punch off the top rope. It looked awesome. They exchange huge forearm shots and then tease a ref bump and end up doing a roll up by Bo for a 2. Neville lays Bo out with a head kick from the apron and goes for the rated arrow, but Bo gets the knees up immediately, goes for the cradle and for a very good near fall. Bo struggles to lift Neville's carcass up for his double underhook DDT. Neville escapes and goes for a tornado DDT, but Bo throws him off. Neville charges Bo in the corner, but Bo sidesteps and makes Neville eat the top turnbuckle. Bo then charges Neville in that same corner, but Neville lays his ass out with a perfectly planned and executed super kick that reverberated throughout the Full Sail Arena. Neville then goes to the top rope and lands a freaking 0-5-4 for the win. I didn't know people were doing that in 2014.
No, I did not think we were getting those sort of moves in WWE at that point.
Like, yeah, I know that if Neville wanted to now, he could do it. It's just, I didn't know that people were doing that move that long ago. Like, I remember, for example, to speak of how crazy that move is.
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw a Phoenix Splash was Seth Rollins at that 2015 Royal Rumble in that triple threat match with Cena and Cena and Lesnar. And I was like, yo, this dude's a superstar. I couldn't believe what I saw in my own eyes. And to know
that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yes, that's exactly what I was like. This is the coolest thing ever. And then that's a super finisher. And then we go look at this and like, oh yeah, like people are doing like inverted 450s like 9 months to that. Like it's crazy. Like Neville.
It's kind of fun to see too, like them doing them booking Neville, because like you can kind of. I watched basically Dusty finals with Ricochet and then watched this episode, and it's kind of cool to see that they like know how to handle that sort of like next generation high flyer better now. I feel like like Neville, the big like. One of the bigger moves he did in this match was the Superman punch off the top rope, where it's like, oh yeah, he's doing a springboard move, but he's just flying higher than everybody.
Right.
Like that's cool, but then like they actually figured out how to work in like rolls and flips and whatnot into Ricochet's just everyday moves. So yeah, I think that progression is kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
It was. I feel like for a little bit of this match, it felt like, all right, yeah, like Neville's going to be doing stuff. He'll like do some very cool moves, and then Bo will just come back and it's a lariat or it's a shoulder block or whatever. But then, like you said, like Bo actually fired it up to a level that I did not know he had. Yeah,
and it's not that Bo is like some incredible technical marvel or anything like that, but the fact that athletically he could keep pace with Neville while Neville is being Neville, like I didn't. If you had told me that existed on tape, I wouldn't have believed you.
I would not have believed that at all.
Right. Like, it's just, I saw the ladder match, wasn't really impressed, saw, a couple other matches maybe, and then he gets moved to NXT almost immediately and just like, he's a fucking comedy geek. Like,
Have we, since that Bo, and aside from like the 2-week run where James Ellsworth did it, have we had like a true oblivious heel?
Oblivious heel.
Because off the top of my head, I cannot think of one.
An aloof, oblivious heel. There's got to be somebody.
Yeah.
Wow, great radio, but I'm trying to think of some heels that are. I mean, you could kind of say Bray Wyatt with because every cult leader is a manner of aloof and oblivious to and lack no self awareness.
They're all the hero in their own mind.
Yeah, and delusions. I'm sure there are others. I just can't think of them. I mean, there's got to be like one or two. I mean, who's the last heel that we've had that thought he was a good guy? I mean, there's had to be someone recently.
Yeah, no, like Folks at home, this airspace, you can do your own Googling and whatnot.
Yeah, they're probably screaming at us. Like, you forgot about Wrestler X. I mean, I guess you could say, on NXT at least, Johnny, after at the end of last year.
Johnny, when he did turn, it felt like a very, this is a necessary thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you could say Johnny. It was just a kind of spot that jumped out at me because I don't it's like a type of heel we just don't get very often. Yeah.
And I think you mean more of somebody that's more obvious as opposed to somebody that just is, I guess, lost his way, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Like a better phrase. Yeah, but we'll be back with next week's NXT. My God, this week's NXT.
I wasn't handed a top spot and a group of cronies to fight my battles for me since day one. I wouldn't change a thing about who I am and where I've been. I wouldn't change a thing about these past 4 years because it's made me appreciate where I'm going. And where I'm going is the main event of TakeOver New York, where I will fight. I will fight to make my dream come true. I will fight to fulfill my destiny. And Johnny Wrestling will finally become NXT champion.
Welcome back. We're here with a review for this week's NXT. WWE NXT 498, March 27th, 2019. The show opens with Adam Cole in street clothes. He's coming down the ring for the promo. He calls out Johnny. They face off in the ring. The crowd does dueling Johnny Wrestling Adam Cole chants for like forever.
Yeah, no, that stayed on for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, Cole did a good job of trying to like shut that down and get into the promo, but like they were going at it for a long time.
Yeah, he tried, but it's like, shut up and let the crowd go back and forth. It's not like they're going to go on forever.
Yeah.
And also, like, you can have, they can cut that down. But the last time I remember a dueling chant like that in all of WWE was probably Cena and AJ the first time.
Yeah, the first time when Gallows and Anderson come out and then AJ hits the lariat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the last time I remember that being that intense.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's good news for them as far as, like, coming off the downer of this dude's neck. He's done, so you got to come up with a program in 3 weeks. Good luck.
Yeah, no, for a match that they get, like, 2 episodes to build, they did really work at building it in this segment. I mean, they gave Gargano what I felt like was felt a lot like the Drew McIntyre promo before. I think it was Brooklyn 2?
Brooklyn
2 or
3.
3.
Brooklyn 3.
Where it's just, this is that guy's NXT, and it's like, you get the, okay, yeah, no, this guy's about to win the title sort of promo. But yeah, no, they were really working their ass off to build a match on no notice.
Yeah, exactly. They did better than I thought they were going to. Like, I didn't know that Johnny was going to pull this one out of his ass. So, anyway, Gargano dared Cole to list all the reasons that he will beat him at TakeOver, because before he said, I have 1,000,000 reasons or 1,000 reasons why I'll beat this guy. And then Cole just stared at him because he's like, you really thought I was going to mean 1,000? Like, don't be an asshole. Anyway, Gargano said that Cole was at a loss for words for the first time in NXT history. Gargano then cut a promo saying that his path leads him to the NXT title, and Cole will meet Johnny TakeOver. Baby, that made me cringe. So Cole mocks Gargano, saying that am I supposed to be frightened by you? And then Cole pointed out that Gargano's win-loss record at takeovers, and then called him Johnny Participation. And I found that to be really rich, considering if you looked at Adam Cole's takeover record as well.
Also not remarkable, yeah.
Yes, it's like pot, call, kettle. So then Cole just ignored his win-loss record and stated his successes and none of his failures, of course, because he's a heel and he's evil. So
this is Cole getting ahead on his main roster booking, because wins and losses don't matter up there. So he's really he's developed past NXT.
Yes. I think that the best promo I've heard this year to encapsulate WWE's idea of booking is Gargano, right before Phoenix. He goes, it's 2019 and it's all about wins and championships. Like, never mind the L's you catch. It's all about these dubs. Like,
you can eat as many pins as you need to or don't need to. But as long as you get a win, that's what matters.
Yes. Like, and then it made me think of, like, the Charlotte thing this week, where Charlotte, she literally hasn't won a match since late November on television or pay-per-view, and then she gets, not only does she get a fucking title shot out of nowhere, she wins the title, and I'm just like, see, wins and championships, never mind all the failures, like, fuck everything else, win, 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 win. so then we get Gargano's reply and tells his underdog story of making a WWE, and says how many times he was told no and how many times he tried out or did whatever with WWE. They told him no, and then the only thing that kept giving him opportunities was the crowd always had this connection with him. And he said he finally teamed with Ciampa by chance, and they clawed their ways to spots on the NXT roster. And then Gargano goes more babyface, turns more babyfacery on, and he says that he fights for everyone who was told they could not make it, and he insists that he's earned all his accomplishments, and he earned everything because this is life, and he's earned everything without being handed a top spot, or he didn't have anything handed to him with the help of his cronies to help fight his battles. And then Gargano ends by saying that he's going to win the NXT title, and then Cole, the crowd is just kind of like shook, like, yo, this is the babyface promo we've been waiting for all our lives. And then Cole leaves the ring almost like on some 8 Mile shit, where like it's time for Papa Doc to cut his verse after the final battle. He's like, I ain't got nothing. So he leaves the ring, turns around on the ramp, and he goes and says, that's a real inspirational story, Johnny. It is like watching a Lifetime movie. He said he could fight all he wants, but Cole vowed to Gargano that he'll be the next NXT champion, and he then says, for this reason. And then all of a sudden you see Fish, O'Reilly, and Strong at the top of the ramp, and then his music hits.
I'm still trying to work through in my head how those three play in. I feel like we don't actually get a fall out of them, but like a near fall, because that feels like a little bit too much of a tipped hand. One thing I did have as a note on Gargano's promo, he mentioned that he didn't get to debut in front of 15,000 people. Like, in the working universe, like, did Cole really get to? Like, I feel like that was always supposed to be more of a, oh, he came out of nowhere, he was not supposed to be here. Like, that was the one sort of like thing that stuck at me, but that might just be a minor deal.
Yeah, because that was the very end of 3, right?
Yeah, that was Brooklyn 3. McIntyre beats Rude, and then him, Fish, and O'Reilly come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a minor thing. It's going to be Gargano versus all of Undisputed Era.
Yeah. I would say they should probably look into the Kyrie and Shayna matches from late last year, like at Evolution and then War Games.
Well, actually, no, Brooklyn, they didn't have the interference in. That was where Kyrie won it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the first match. The second match, Evolution, and then the third match was the 2 out of 3 falls match at War Games. Yeah. So
they did it right in those matches. So yeah, I think you're right. They would be good to look at those.
And those are some of the best, like, sub 12-minute matches you're going to find, those last two.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so then we get Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah versus Lacey Lane and Casey Catanzaro. So I don't know what it is, but every single time I see Aaliyah, I'm like, did she, like, improve her physique? And the answer is no, she just looks like that. So why do I keep getting stunned by the fact that she is, like, all abs and everything? Whatever. And
she's been in NXT for 5 years, too. Like, I don't know if there's anything that should really surprise us at this point, except for theme music, because that changes pretty regularly. But, like, she was in NXT, I'm pretty sure, before Izzy could read, and she's still coming out here.
Man. Yo. So, I mean, she's been doing this Versace gimmick now for a few months, at least, like, since the end of last year. And at least, like, this is... at least she's on steady ground, and she's in this bad tag team with Vanessa, and they're not good, but like they're not supposed to be good. They're just meant to just be, shenanigans.
Born and Bushi, what a name.
Oh yeah. Can we just call them Aaliyah and Vanessa? I don't want to do that. I don't. Can we not?
So terrible.
So then out comes what looks like Scorpion's little daughter, and it's Lacey Lane. For those that have never seen her, she was one of the darlings of last year's last year's Mae Young Classic. And then her teammate is another darling from last year's Mae Young Classic, Casey Catanzaro. And then I immediately think, like, they would make a great tag team. I'd love to see them fight Sasha and Bayley. Please keep them the fuck away from Tamina and Nia and the Iconics. I just want to see I want to see them versus, like, the Sky Pirates, or hell, even against Jessamine and Marina. Yeah. Like, sure, bring up the tag. Like, these girls are good. Like, you don't have that go long. Like, they can handle that. I've seen them in short matches. They can do that. And they're
very here for this tag team, for sure.
Right. So, go ahead.
Even if Lacey and Casey is a little bit too rhyming names for me, but that's like a small detail. Note I had on this segment, actually that comes after the match. We can get to that later.
I mean, it's a smoz. Like,
it was a quick
it's a smoz. Like, they have they have Lacey in the ring. Casey's on the apron the whole time. They're going back and forth. Lacey's able to get her Ray Phoenix rope jumping and tight roping spot in for arm drag. And then all of a sudden out comes Shayna, Marina, and Jessamine. Vanessa and Aaliyah got that ass whooped by those three before. They see them and it's like, Omar's coming. We gotta go. So then those three hit the ring and they beat the hell out of Lacey, and then they start to beat the hell out of Casey. Casey mounts a little comeback, and then Shayna finally is able to slap on the Coquina clutch. I'm sorry, the Karafuda clutch.
Drastically different move. Come on.
Yeah. Rear naked chokes, they're so different. Such variation.
Oh, yeah.
Such a distinction. So,
I mean, the one thing I will say, the crowd was pretty hot for Casey's comeback. Like, for somebody that is not on TV a ton, like, they were into it, which I guess, like, that's...
I would have to say this was her first... This was her and Lacey's NXT debut, like, on TV.
Yeah, I want to say it is. I mean...
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody will yell at us online about it not being, but for the time being.
My thing is, if they debut... Okay, so I've watched every single episode of NXT since Brooklyn 4. So yeah, I never saw either one of them. So
yeah, definitely
unless they debuted, like, before Brooklyn, after the Mae Young Classic for a spot or two, I don't know why, but unless that's the case, this is their debut, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Good debut, too.
Yeah, I mean, they immediately got heat on them, and, like, Shayna's getting...
I think you said it the other night. She's getting every bit of heat back that she'd lost after taking those pins after Phoenix.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. Like, she was visually beaten in Phoenix. She got pinned by Io in that 6-woman tag. There may have been one more, I'm not sure, but... Like, between, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago when she laid out Bianca, Io, and Kyrie.
Oh, yeah.
This, next week is Bianca versus Kyrie. You just know that's going to get fucked with. So.
Oh, yeah. She's very much on the comeback tour. My question is, at this point, because I feel like she's had, like, pretty consistent heat for, 2 years now? Coming up on it?
No, it's been about 18 months, something like that.
Months? Okay, yeah. Because I know she had the match against Ember at the Rumble, but, like, where is she on the list of, like, NXT women's competitors? Because I feel like there's that untouchable three of, like, Asuka, Sasha, Bayley, but, like, after that, I feel like there's a discussion.
I throw Charlotte in that top 4.
In that top tier?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because, she, for me, the first match that gets me into, for me, because the first match, the first like great takeover match for the women was the match versus Natalya with Brett and Rick at ringside. Like the Emma and Paige match is really good, and at the time it was like that's the best women's match I've seen out of WWE like in my
watching
2.5, 3 years of fandom. But then just by the very next takeover they jumped it all the way to like a damn 4-star match between Natty and Charlotte. And it was like, yo, I remember the time like Charlotte's only had like X number of matches or X number of appearances on the network TV. Like she's a fucking like she's gonna be like, the woman Brock Lesnar or whatever else. And then you go from there, where you have all of the 4-way match and the development of the Sasha and Becky match and all the other matches between those four. Asuka as a dominant champ. Ember as a great challenger, but kind of a lame duck champ between Asuka and Shayna.
Yeah, I feel like Ember came around at a bad time, like to win the belt. Like you were never gonna have a better run than Asuka had with it, and then like
they tried, but
they did
especially because I was at the Orlando show. I'm sorry, I think it was called NXT or Takeover Orlando or NXT Takeover Florida? But anyway, it was basically WrestleMania weekend, WrestleMania 33.
The goofy looking sunshine logo. Yeah.
So they had that great match, and then in the middle of the match, like they tried to turn Asuka heel. Ain't nobody trying to boo no damn Asuka. No. So
she's untouchable at this point.
Yeah. So then you get to Brooklyn, they have another great match, and Asuka ended up getting her in this. She relinquishes the belt, and then she's moving on to the main roster. And then they have I think it was a 4-way?
Yeah, it was 4-way. It was, let's see. Hold on a sec. Okay, it was Ember, Kyrie, Nikki Cross, and Peyton Royce?
I believe so. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild time that Peyton Royce was almost NXT Women's Champ.
Yikes. So then she wins, and then immediately is you have Shayna coming in, and Shayna's just rear naked choking everybody in the locker room, and the only person that's standing up to her is Ember. Ember gets a sneak win on her, and the next match
she rolled the choke back into a flash pin, didn't she?
Right. Yeah. And you notice that like Shayna has learned about getting rolled over in that situation as opposed to Samoa Joe's dumbass who keeps getting in an advantage with the choke.
It's like WWE writers use like the Seinfeld rule of no hugging and no learning. Like Samoa Joe will never learn to not get rolled up when he's choking somebody.
Okay, I think you're giving WWE far too much credit for the no learning and no hugging situation. I think the case is that they're not as good booker as Triple H when he gets to tape all of his shows like 3 or 4 in a row and have continuity, and he can't be fickle and change his mind from week to week. So anyway, so it's like, let's not give Charlotte any W's until it's time for us to change our mind and give her something. Like, it's so funny that I'm sorry I'm getting on this space, but
no worries.
It's so funny that people were talking about Charlotte and how they were defending her inclusion in the storyline by saying that she's in a cheap way, and they're not explaining it to get heat by saying that, see, she doesn't deserve it. She's just getting shit. And then, like, those people that are in that bag, it's like, okay, so how do you explain now that they're a week out? Now she's a fucking champion, and she's beat, like, the person that beat Becky.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense at all.
It's almost as if you were wrong, and they're just doing shit.
No, they're throwing darts at a wall. Yeah. There is no sort of rhyme or reason to it at this point.
Yeah, so going back to it, I'll probably put Shayna in. She'd be top 4, top 5.
Yeah, I feel
all time.
As currently run, I feel like that's where she probably falls in. Like,
I think week to week she's a better heel and does better heel work than Charlotte did, but I think that Charlotte's matches, were better.
I think that's fair.
Like, takeover to takeover. Yeah. A lot of like she's just a better athlete than Shayna is at this point in her life.
Yeah, no, that I think is very true too. I mean, Charlotte's just super athlete at this point.
Yeah.
So what do we have next? We had Riddle versus Kona. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, the one week I drop on the pod, of course, there's a Kona Reeves match.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen him in months. So Riddle comes out, Kona comes out. They're about to have a match. I'm thinking this is going to be just like big knee pin. No,
yeah, like the Trent Seven match that Riddle had in progress.
Yeah, something like that. So anyway, Riddle's whooping that ass, and then out comes Velveteen Dream and he's getting pushed. He's getting pushed along the top of the ramp on the entrance with two women are pushing him while he's on the sofa, and he's got what I will call for a family friendly presentation I will say is a chalice, and he's sipping from the chalice, and this distracts Riddle. Kona gets in a near fall. Riddle then proceeds to beat that ass with strikes. I was thinking he was going to make him submit to strikes like how he did Ono at, I believe that was Phoenix. Yeah. Anyway, he then slaps on the Bro Mission and gets a submission victory. And then Riddle walks up to Dream, and then he pulls the mic out of his hand and says, "See you at." I believe he says, "See you at New York, bro." And then he takes the chalice and proceeds to drink out of it, and then throws it to the ground. And Dream is just he feels disrespected. That's the best way I can
taken aback.
Like he is so much like. Obviously, he's doing all the 80s and 90s cosplay, but like he is doing so much Rock work where like Rock used to be like the biggest like what's the word, hot dogging asshole, and then like when somebody like decides to meet that level of disrespect, he can dish it out, but he cannot take it, and he's just like, wait a second, what are you doing with my cup? How dare you, sir? I'm going to whoop your ass at New York. It's so fun.
It really is.
So then from there we end up getting Aleister or Ricochet versus the Forgotten Sons for the final of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Winner goes to NXT Takeover New York to wrestle the War Raiders for the NXT tag titles. The War Raiders have not had a match since Phoenix. I don't know if that was a good idea. I don't know.
Probably wasn't. I will say, watching the entrances for this match was hilarious because you can see which team was the two like huge name indie wrestlers from around the world that WWE needed under their payroll, and then you can see the three guys that were sitting in developmental that we threw together to see if this stuck.
Wait,
you
mean to tell me that Wesley Blake doesn't exude the same star power and aura that Aleister Black raising up from smoke like the damn Undertaker, or Ricochet with laser beams shooting all around him like he's a fucking superhero? You mean to tell me it's not the same thing? It doesn't exude the same like presence? No?
For the listeners at home, I'm going to need you all to sit down while I say this. He does not.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Another note I had on this match. First of all, they're listing Aleister Black at 215, which I'm not sure about that one, Chief.
He's like 215 the same way CM Punk was like 215 or 217 or whatever the hell they were. It's like, look, man, you ain't got to lie to these people's weight. We don't care.
Like,
only people that care about weight are like
smoke under the lights. Like, just bring him up. He can be 180.
Yes,
it probably is. Also, Jackson Riker being shirtless despite not wrestling. Like, I don't know what the deal was, but
I mean, he did so little around the ringside during this match. It is like, I gotta do something to pop the crowd. Like,
had to show off his sweet back tattoos.
Yeah, like he did the same thing, I think, in the first round of the tournament against Lorcan and Birch.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, so just
might just be a deal.
Another thing about him that I always find interesting is like he looks like normal sized, and then he takes off the vest robe deal, and then all of a sudden he looks like fucking Batista, like from 2008. All of a sudden, it's like
all of a sudden, where did that come from?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, what? All right, so I don't know if you want to run through this match. I thought it was a great match. I thought it was like four and a quarter. I think that the Forgotten Sons, like, they showed that, like, they can. It's kind of like the Bo Dallas thing. Like, they can keep up with these stars, and
they've got something.
Yeah.
Like, I know. I mean, I'm not going to speak on Jackson Riker's singles matches, but I think I had kind of heavens no, but I don't know. Like, I had kind of written them off a little bit up until this tournament, and I think they definitely did show that they've got something in the tank when they need to turn it up. They've got it.
Yeah, like they might turn themselves into like the new Revival. I'm not saying they're going to be as good as a Revival, but they could be the new, like, we do the Southern Heel wrestling style, and like we're talented enough to make it work. Like like Blake. I mean, you had Blake and Murphy. Like, they were great back then. So then you throw in like Cutler, and Cutler is like almost like, okay, it's disrespect because they're in the same brand, but like, he's trying his best to try to be Roddy Strong with all the back work and back breakers and stuff and creative ways to do it. But obviously he's not him, but like, because he can't strike like that. But like that's what he's going for, and like it's a nice in ring outfit. Now, as far as the packaging and whatever they're trying to do as their gimmick, like, it never hit, and it's not hitting now, and I don't think it's ever going to hit unless, like, you give these dudes like a legitimate push, and I don't mean like they're going to be cannon fodder in for the real stars to go on to the takeover. Like, I think they need a feud, like, needed a real feud with Street Profits. Like, they had that match on the pre-show for Phoenix, and it was hot, and they got their W. They probably need to continue that because, like, they actually had something in that pre-show match. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, there was a point, what was it, like, I want to say it was last summer, where you had, like, Undisputed Era and whoever they were feuding with. I think it was Mustache Mountain at the time. Then you had, like, the Mighty, or at the time, I think they were the Mighty, Lorcan and Burke, Street Profits. Right. Like, and it was over, we're stealing their chains.
What an outrageous feud. But yeah, no, you had like 4 teams that could just cycle between each other, and it's like, we're not challenging for the titles, but there's going to be a multiple episode long story here, and like, you're going to get matches that actually mean something. So yeah, I think they could definitely use that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, because they did do a few things during this match that I was like, oh, okay, haven't seen that before. That was pretty cool. I think they did like a lung blower elbow drop combo that.
Yeah.
That's off to them. I did not think they were going to pull that out.
Yeah, and I think it's something to be said of like they had good matches in the tournament. Like that first episode when you had the first round of DIY versus Undisputed, Ricochet and Aleister Black versus I can't remember who it was.
Was that no? Who was okay? Hang on a sec.
I can't remember who it was, but anyway, it was like it had Mustache Mountain versus Street Profits. That match was great. You had Oni and Birch versus Forgotten Sons. I can't remember who this eighth team.
DIY versus O'Reilly and Fish was a round 1 matchup, and then it was Eichner and Bartel.
That's right. Eichner and Bartel versus Ricochet and Aleister Black. Like all 3 of those matches are all on the same scale, all between like 3 1/4 to 4, maybe 4 1/4. Like all those things are, all 4 of them were just, just all in place. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So, then you get this match, and it's like they have something in the ring, but like they're gonna have to. I think they're really gonna have to go the Revival route of just like, we're interchangeable more or less. And,
you don't have to know which one of us is which. Like, we both have long hair and beards.
Right.
But
we were going to wrestle our ass off, and we're going to get heat. And, one day or another, they're going to get the top spot as heels, and they're just going to be over everyone, winning through disgusting means and getting heat. Now, as far, like, obviously they're not going to be the promos that, or at least I don't think they're going to be the promos that Dash and Wilder were, but
no, I can't imagine they will be.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
A lot of time.
Yeah. So that's the end of the show, man. All
right.
Thanks for coming through. Do you want to do plugs?
No. To be honest, I got nothing. I mean, that was.
You're not even gonna plug your Twitter or your social media?
Yeah. Let's see. So I'm on Twitter at TheRealBigTom98. I made that handle when I was a freshman in high school, so it is corny. My official Twitter name is the Macho Man Blandy Average. My Instagram is at Gambo9898, and that's about it from that angle.
Okay. Oh man. All right, so you killed it. So that's the end of the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this. Tell the folk about Social Suplex Podcast Network. Be sure to check out our friends at Powerslam.tv, the sponsor for the show. If you're a fan of independent pro wrestling, they have over 4,000 hours of footage from all over the world. You can use the code Social Suplex to get your free month's trial. Don't forget to visit ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and pick up some Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. Be sure to check on our other shows from Social Suplex Podcast Network. On Sundays, we have One Nation Radio. On Mondays until April 1st, we have the Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast. On Tuesdays, we have Keepin It Strong Style. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. And on every other Wednesday, we have Grown Men Watch This Shit. As again, on Thursdays, until April 1st, we have still the Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast. On Fridays, we have this show, NXT Then Now Forever. And on Saturdays, we have All Things Elite. Thanks for listening. Later.